Okay, so let's get into it. Without further ado, let's get into the finale. I'm super excited. So thank you to anybody who's here, and thank you, Toma, for coming on.
Yay, I'm so excited.
Okay, so first of all, if you're not following Tomaslian, make sure that you pull out your phone and follow her. Tell people where to follow you on Instagram and TikTok.
Instagram at Tomaslian and on TikTok it's at toma.lu, Louu. But I'll post that later and stuff.
Perfect, perfect. Okay, we're gonna post it later, so stay tuned. Okay, so let's get into the finale. I'm gonna start us off and like go through some things, and when you have anything to say at all, tell me, and I'm gonna go back and forth between the chat too and see if anyone has anything to contribute. So
Perfect.
basically, we start out, and Amir basically is in a confessional, and he's like, "I'm so happy that Nick isn't mad at Natalie. I'm happy I'm happy that Nick is mad at the other girls." And meanwhile, Natalie brought it up, okay? And the other ladies would not have brought it up. So I can't compute, I truly can't compute what Amir was thinking in terms of why he didn't feel like Natalie was responsible.
No, I fully agree. I never, even to the end of the episode, I never understood what his side was. Like, she was totally responsible.
Oh my gosh, we have someone here. Okay, yay. So Brie from Black Girl Can't Cook, she's here. My friend Brie
Oh my gosh,
Collins.
hi Brie.
Everybody, make sure you're following Brie at Black Girl Can't Cook as well. Okay, so she hasn't watched Summer House Martha's Vineyard, but she's gonna catch up tomorrow. And she also said she's gonna go follow. That makes me super excited. So, okay, so you were saying no one should have, no, like Natalie shouldn't have brought it up.
Well, yeah, I mean, I just feel like unequivocally there was no reason. It was just she had nothing to do with the whole scenario. It just felt very random, and it did feel like a made-for-television moment, a reality television moment, kind of, where it's like I want to get involved in a sense because, and I still don't understand the friendship between Natalie and Tasia in the first place.
Okay, so is Natalie perhaps meant for Natalie? Oh my God, I almost called it Natalie television. Is Natalie actually meant for reality television? Like I don't know. Not this show, she's not. Not this
Yeah,
show. That's my opinion.
she might honestly though. I might like agree with that because she seems like she kind of weirdly wants to be on reality television, right? Like, and she's like making plot points, kind of, even though she's not involved.
Do
Did
you
you feel
feel
that way?
Yeah, and do you feel like she wants a spot on the show? Like do you feel like she wants a spot on the show? Okay. That's
I
what I'm
do. I
seeing in
do.
the chat. I'm seeing people say like she wants her spot on the show. And it's interesting because when I talked with Amir though, that's not the impression I got. I like
Yeah.
the impression that he gave was very much like Natalie stays in her own lane. She talks to you if you talk to her. She's nice to you if you talk to her, and she like minds her own business. And on the
Hmm.
flip side, what we're seeing is not that. Is not that at all.
Yeah, and that's why I'm thinking maybe she does kind of like maybe it's not explicit. Maybe she hasn't communicated that with him in the way that he could understand, but like it comes off as she does. You know?
Yes, it does. Okay, so moving past Natalie for a second because we're gonna get back to her. Nick, okay, on the topic of Nick and this whole thing that stemmed, Nick just needs to be honest and say that he has a flirty personality. He's affectionate with his friends. He's an affectionate person. And that doesn't mean that he's going to cheat on Tasia. Like, I feel like if he just owned his personality, he could just shut all of this down.
Do you think he would? Do you think anyone thought he would really cheat on Tasia?
You know, no, I don't. I think that Natalie, we've seen how possessive she is and we've seen the expectations that she has of Amir. So I think her impression of that was very disturbed. And I think it was a projection of how she wouldn't want Amir to be. And I feel like she couldn't help herself.
Yeah.
Not
Oh,
even
that's so
couldn't help
true.
herself, but like she was
Yeah.
like she was projecting. She was very much like, well, if Amir did this, this is how I would
Yeah.
feel, right?
And that's what, but they both do that. If you notice, at one point, Amir did mention, oh, me and Natalie, you know, this is how, like, they always keep referencing their relationship as if it's, you know, it gives any context to other people's relationship. And I feel like that's, and they, you know, everyone already thought Tasia and Nick had a weird relationship. They kept saying that. So yeah, I feel like with Natalie and Amir, it's like they are constantly comparing everything to their scenario and their feelings and their interactions.
Because that's such a good point. Because even when Amir gives advice to people, I feel like he's very much like, well, this is how I would feel. Or if like
Yeah.
Natalie was here, like this
Mhm.
is what I would say. And it's
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
like take yourself out of it for like a second.
Yes. Yeah. Fully agree with that.
Okay. Um, so what do you think about Shanice, Noelle, and Bria? Sorry. What do
But
you, I don't know, something like came in my ear really loud, but like it's good now.
yeah, you're good.
I like try not to make a face. What do you think about Shanice, Noelle, and Bria bringing this up in front of Natalie? Like, do you like what's your opinion on that?
Hmm. I don't know. It's kind of weird because it's almost like there was like I don't think in the moment obviously as we've seen thinking like, oh yeah, like this is going to be a thing she's going to relay, or you know what I mean. And I think based off of what we know, there's already this like disconnect between the girls and Natalie. So I feel like them just being honest and real and authentic, like with how they would usually chat, is fair. You
Agreed.
know, like if the whole thing is that they're not accepting and open to Natalie and they're just having girls chat and Natalie's there and they just have it and they trust her in that scenario. I mean, you know, like it's not like if they weren't to do that, there would be another issue, which is like, oh, they're not involving Natalie again, right, or whatever. So, but
Oh,
then
that's
I
such
also
a
feel
good
like they
point.
realized that that was risky. Like I don't think they thought she would do that or she would like make it an issue because even I think it was Noelle who said later like, um, I guess we have to be careful what we say around Natalie or something to that effect.
Yes,
You know?
yes. And it's so interesting too because now that we've heard them say multiple times that they clearly expressed that they were not going to bring it to Tasia, I don't get why she pioneered that so hard. Like I truly don't get it. And it's like you know, like Amir's young, whatever, he's 27 years old, but on the same token, if you would think that just out of self-preservation and not wanting drama that he would have been like don't say anything. Like even regardless of what it's about, just like don't say anything.
You would think, but I feel like what we know of Amir now, he's not really forward thinking in that sense. You know, like he's not very like yeah, it doesn't. I don't get the idea that he like is good at preventing issues. Like even just the way at the end of the episode he's talking about, or not the end, but whenever Natalie was leaving, he was talking about like now I have to be more mindful again. If like I can do whatever when she's here, but now I have to temper myself when she's gone. It's like you're an adult, like you know what I mean. Like everyone's adults. No one is trying to do anything weird or put you in any like uncomfortable situation. So why is it so hard for you to just move without her. It's only like how many weeks? It's like 2 weeks, right? That they're
Exactly.
there.
And he
Yeah.
even said, like, oh, like my fun is leaving the house.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, Brie commented and she said, Brie is messy, only bring Milo back. And that sends me. Because Milo is, case of the missing Milo this episode, Milo's messy, okay? Milo's messy.
Mila is my favorite. I think Bravo While Black talked about this at some point and saying like Milo's my favorite character, and I'm like I love Milo. He's the star of the show. Like,
Milo makes everything better. Milo, Milo, Milo.
hmm
Um, okay, so Amir saying that Natalie was like the fun of like my fun is leaving the house. It's like really because the whole time she's here, we've seen you withdraw yourself from the group. So like what fun are you having? Right or
but
wrong?
exactly, no, but exactly. That's my thing. I'm like that's why I don't really understand their relationship, and I feel very confused by it because from what we've seen, there isn't really any like I don't want to say there aren't any positives, but it's very yeah. Like I don't see them having fun together. Maybe
What
I
did
missed that, but yeah.
I don't see it either. I do hear the playfulness of him like talking about her ass, like, and I see the like sexual innuendos, but I really don't see the fun either. And that's just me being honest. And also, she was super shady about his own job while she was there. Like, I don't know, if you don't treat my friends well and if you embarrass me, it's a wrap.
And
It's a
it's like
wrap.
they've only been dating for, I can't remember how long, but they're not like, it's not like they've been in this relationship for years and stuff. Like, it's kind of strange that we only see this kind of like, I guess, push and pull dynamic between them. Um, and we don't really, and they're still like technically like newer to being in a relationship. Like, you would think that you would see like you're uplifting each other, you're like, oh my gosh, we're in the same industry, let's like tag team, whatever. But it's very much like, yeah, I don't
Like
know.
power couple vibes. And instead,
Yeah,
it's very much like, I'm the shit, you're the fart.
yeah,
Yeah.
like, yeah, no, but like basically,
No, but like basically, Okay, so continuing on through the episode, we see that there's a confrontation and Bria removes herself. And I want to know your opinion on Bria walking away because is it childish that she walks away? Because later in the episode, we hear the group say when Bria lashes out, we're going to just walk away from the conversation. And I feel like, on one hand, I think that Bria goes over the top sometimes. On the other hand, I think a lot of people get really loud selectively with Bria. Amir is a great reference. And I think that that bothers her, that like selective outrage is directed solely towards her. And she is small, and we don't know her triggers that she has from past relationships. And it's very much like push, get pushed. You know what I mean? Like push me, I push back. So like initially I loved that Bria was removing herself from the conversation. I see what people are saying. It leaves things unresolved, but what was your thoughts?
yeah. So that's a hard one, right? Basically, for the reasons you already mentioned, like, you don't know how people deal with conflict, and when you're on a reality television show like this, especially when it's like a man woman dynamic of like raising voices and stuff like that, and like you said, she is a smaller girl, like, it can be very triggering. We haven't seen her like, I don't think we've seen her explicitly talk about that, but at the same time, like, it's weird. It's like there is validity in removing yourself from a situation when you know, when you're triggered, you're triggered, and you know that something's going to go wrong. But at the same time, it's tough because she does escape. Like, she's
Mm,
very much like,
that's
and
a good
they
point.
at
That's a
some
good
point
point.
they showed us like a montage of like Bria. Like, she's like, I don't like to be angry. And then they show us a montage, and it's like every single time she's just yelling and like, and I'm not like, it's fun, like, it's funny, but it's also like, okay, well, if we're really talking about conflict and like dynamics, like, you have to like at least, like, you're a big part of a lot of the conflicts. At some point, you
Mm-hmm.
have to just address it head on. You can't just. A lot of people will start to use that as like an escape, right? Like, I'm just literally gonna leave, and then they
Yes.
never really have
Like
to
I'm going to start
fully.
this, but then I'm going to walk away.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean,
That's a good point.
it's, yeah, it's a
And I
tough.
agree with that. I agree with that too. I think that it's hard to know how to respond to someone when you feel really misunderstood. And I feel like
Yeah.
Bria feels misunderstood a lot. And maybe that's, I don't know, maybe I have that feeling because I talked to her in my podcast, like season one, but I just feel like she feels misunderstood a lot. And even with Simon, we saw that Alex was in her room comforting her while Simon was asleep. And it's like,
I'm sorry, but I laughed at that because it was like they zoomed in or something, and they're like, Simon. He's like, the covers over his head, and you're just like, I can't.
he's like, and I see now, like, and not that I didn't see it before, but when she talks about the lack of protection that Simon offers, I mean, if he's not, I mean, he doesn't pay attention to things. He's really not there when he should be, and then he's there and in Flamingo when he shouldn't be. Like, stay away if you
The
can.
flamingo sends me every time because the last like 3 episodes they keep referencing it as like their fight, And I mean, yeah, but it's also so ridiculous because I think the thing about Simon that I'm realizing now is that it's very clear that this is just like his personality, right? And it's
Mm-hmm.
just like Bria just doesn't like that personality. Bless you.
Dead. No, I
Um,
coughed, but I also laughed at that. I'm dead.
so yeah, I just feel like, and now it's almost like every single thing he does like bothers her. But also, if she wants a partner, like obviously we saw at the end of the episode, she's like, no, that's not my soulmate. I was like,
I cackled. I'm like, okay,
I'm
well,
so,
Mr. Tribeca needs to come back in the world
I
because,
know. Oh my gosh, I was like, she's really out here saying that, and she's like, yeah, we'll get married. So
and so
I
that
was
begs the
like,
question, like, should you be marrying, should you be marrying someone that's not your soulmate?
I think soulmate is a really obviously complex, not complex, but like people think of it all different ways.
Agreed.
I think but I do think that if you're like this person is not like you know what I mean. Like it felt very like 100% like this is not my like the person I connect with most in this world, and I feel seen by and all those things. That's what I feel like is like the deeper part. Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, of course you can just get married to anyone.
True.
That you know.
And honestly, I'll never ever hate on a woman who marries for whatever reason, whether it's to position yourself in financial freedom or to escape something else, or I don't know. I'm not gonna, you know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
but if Mr. Tribeca has money and he's the soulmate, I'm just wondering
Yeah.
because Simon is a lot. And I want to know, like, is Mr. Tribeca white? Because I just need to, you know what I mean? Is he?
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
I hope he's not. I mean, if he is, great. Great. But just because, I mean, maybe it's fine if he is, but like Simon from Germany is very lack of education. It's very like, oh, like
Wait, do you think it's lack of education or is it a cultural difference?
that's what I mean. Like lack of education about racism in America. Simon doesn't have it.
Yeah, but you would think he could educate himself on that,
That's
right?
what I mean. So
Yeah.
then there comes the lack of motivation. Like you know what I mean? Like
That's
if
what I mean. Simon is just not like he doesn't do anything. He doesn't say anything. Like
that's what I mean. So
all we
what's he doing? He's
all we see is him literally like jumping around. Like oh my, there was a point also where he was like, I think it was last episode actually. Now that I think about it, where he was in the bed and like after their fight, and he's just like it's like 3 a.m. He's just like chugging a beer in
oh
the
my god,
bed.
that sent
Like,
me. Laying
yeah,
down, the fact that you can
yes.
guzzle like that.
He literally, I was like, what is he doing?
I didn't ask you to walk the dog. You're just telling me.
And they don't have like they don't communicate, like they don't have conversations. It's just like I don't know. It's just the dynamic is really interesting. I guess.
It's interesting too that she said that he's jealous because we've seen not one iota of that, although
Yeah,
I'm sure that he is, but he seems too dense to be jealous. I don't think that he would pick up on the cues that someone was being
yeah,
flirtatious.
true. He doesn't pick up on any cues, or he doesn't seem to pick up on any cues. It's almost just
It's
like he's
fine.
like, he's just there. It's like no
He's
thoughts,
just
just love.
there.
Like he's just like, oh,
And I'd rather have him just be there though than Natalie be there and like
oh yeah. But I'm like, yeah. See, that's why I feel like Natalie wants to be in reality television because it's like she's like doing things. I don't think the flamingo thing was Simon trying to like make a moment. I think that was Simon being daft, like you said, like out of touch and being like silly and ridiculous. Like he knows Bria. He knew, and she said they talked about it that she would not like that. So the fact that he's still it's just like he doesn't. It's not that he doesn't care, but he doesn't. Yeah, he's not like. But yeah, so I just don't think. I think the things that he does that are annoying to Bria are not about him wanting to be like the star of the show or something. I think, and I honestly don't even get the feeling that he wants to like invade the space. Whereas I feel like Natalie is different in that sense.
agreed. I just laughed, sorry, because I scrolled down a little bit on my notes while you were talking just for a second to see where we were going next. And all I have written is wait, how did it go? Waves, waves, waves,
Oh
waves.
yeah.
Love you, love you, love you.
Oh my
Waves,
gosh, I was
waves,
gonna talk.
waves.
Like I was like, this event. Well, what did you think about this
No, you
event?
start. What did you think?
No, no, I want to hear you first because I need a different perspective right now.
Okay, well, first of all, it was called like what? Like feel the space and or like fill the space. I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know how much space you're gonna give Summer to fill, but if you give her the opportunity, like she's definitely going to. So then 2 minutes later, for her to be the only one who did like the full on bulb, what is his name? Bob Ross moment, that killed me. Like that killed me. Like everybody else painted like nothing, like they're like, nah, and then Summer's like, this is me on my like, and honestly I did love what she was saying though. It was really
Yeah.
good. Also, that
So
was my
good.
painting, no big deal. Just kidding.
Oh, that's
Like
you're like plug
the
basically.
plug basically. um no, I did appreciate her taking it seriously, but it also made me cackle because we've already heard her say like the most like not dinner table remark of all time, unless you're just talking about a surgery, and she's just like, he's been inside of me.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, so it was funny that she took it the most seriously because I'm like, oh, she still cares about Alex, and that's why that bothered her.
Yeah, I guess so, which is really it kind of sucks that we never got to really see any
Mm-hmm.
of Alex and Summer's not relationship, but like whatever happened between
Like the
them. Like,
trajectory of what
yeah,
happened.
and we still like I don't even know like how they felt about each. Like I don't know. It just feels very like we hear all about the aftermath, I guess. But like, yeah, that's weird too. Because I'm like, okay, well, it would have been more interesting and more. We would have had more information if we could see how they like how it was. Because for now, it's just like they keep talking about something that we never saw. And a scene like this, where it's like, okay, she's the only one who cares about this event. No offense, the event was horrendous. Like it was him singing. I'm like,
With his cousin Josiah or something. I'm like, who is this?
and honestly, he should have just had the cousin Josiah. And then when they pan to him just sitting on the edge of the stage, like, is this for your like, what's going on here? And then also, wasn't he said it was one of the events that, you know how he does the events, but they were the only people there. So I
I'm
was
like,
just like,
I'm like, I'm like, I like Alex, but like he's just a little too um like I don't know, like Alex wants peace and Alex
yeah,
wants like tranquility and he doesn't even drink. So I'm just like, you are a vibe, but you're not the vibe for Summer House Martha's Vineyard. He would be the vibe for like spa chateau or something, like if they were like people like going to the spa and being relaxed, or like
he
even
might
Candy
have.
Factory season 3 or whatever, make a Candy Factory and have him as a judge. Like I would watch Alex as a judge.
Do you think his like tranquility vibes are really authentic?
I think it's hard to see them as authentic because um we hear what we hear. However, I don't think he's a fuck boy, like I really don't.
Oh, good to know. Okay, I
Like
do.
I see, I think that Alex very much gives what he gives. Like, I think he very much gives non-committal,
Hmm.
bang, unreliable, potentially won't call you back. He'll probably be doing ayahuasca somewhere. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
with Jesse.
With Jesse. I died. I literally died. It's so
No,
funny.
but yeah, I get it.
Um, no, but like it's hard to interpret as authentic. However, he never ever loses his cool, and we've actually not ever seen him come out of that. So at this point, it probably is authentic. Like that probably is who he is, being that we don't see him as anything but that. You would think that if it wasn't authentic by now, there'd be a moment.
Yeah, but like, yeah, I guess I don't think of it as like I do think and appreciate his like ability to control his like behavior in that sense and always be like, and you know when he was encouraging Amir, or not encouraging, but like telling Amir like, you know, we don't as men need to get in
I like
fights with
that too.
women. Yeah, I liked that. And he was like disengaged. Like, yes, of course you like, but don't raise your voice, like disengaged kind of thing. I really did appreciate that. And that part of him, like, is I do think is authentic,
Me
but I
too.
still do think he's an F boy because of the way he like just based off the little we know of him dealing with women. And like you said, like not those are all signs of F.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Mm-hmm.
think even with the miscommunication with Summer, like as soon as she posted him, that's when he's like, oh,
Or
like,
he's like no face, no case. Like he's like, don't take my
yeah,
picture very
exactly.
much.
Right. And I feel like that is definitely F-boy behavior because it's not like you're being like, hey, straight up, like, we're in the same friend group. I only want to hook up with you. I don't want anything more. So this is like my boundary. Whatever. That for me would be like, okay, like you know that you don't want whatever. But him being so like, even just the way he like responds to her when she's talking about it, he's like, yeah. So like the part that I think is inauthentic is like, I'm literally a vegan. Like I love singing and I just love like it's just like okay, like
You think he eats
cool.
pork on the weekends? Like what? You think he eats?
No, but I feel like it's like the classic like vegan thing where it's like I do yoga and I'm a vegan. Like, like I am a very good person, but you can still be an F boy and like do yoga and be a vegan. And I feel like that's my own
Totally.
thing is like
Yes. And I actually, I know exactly what you're saying. I agree with that. I agree with all of that. Okay, wait, next part. Okay, so Summer removing herself from the house is a good idea, and I think she needed to do it sooner, but I'm glad she had the realization. I mean, at that point, just why not stay? But I'm glad she had the realization to honor herself, I guess.
yeah. Yeah. It was I didn't really know how to feel about it, but I yeah, like I respect the decision,
Yes.
but it almost felt like a little too not a little too late, but like whatever. Yeah, I don't know.
And I feel bad too because, like, it's hard to say, like, what's really going on because clearly something is. Like, the whole house has noticed that she's having difficulty with expressing herself. And we've seen this of Shanice before too, where she was kind of like drinking and partying. And she kind of said, like, I don't sit with my emotions. I don't want to have these conversations. It's draining. It's not what I'm here for. Um, so I get Summer, and I thought that I liked her being vulnerable and saying that, but I also do think that there's a piece if we were to say everything of just like I'm embarrassed of how I acted this summer, and like I couldn't handle my alcohol, and I wasn't in a space to be drinking really, you know what I mean, to that level,
Yeah.
because you really do lose your filter to where you can process your emotions. And I get it
Mm-hmm.
too because everybody copes differently, so I would never shame someone for choosing to drink, but I think that at least is a part of it besides just wanting to be with her friends and Nana.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I agree, and that's why I didn't like. I wanted to take her seriously that one night when she's like, "I'm sober tonight because I don't want to be mean to my friends or whatever." And they're like, "Okay, well, first of all, don't market it as like sober. Like you literally are taking one night of drinking. Like
Right.
let's talk about it." It's like, but also like, yeah, like I feel like that's totally fair and reasonable, and like let's explore that a little bit more instead of it just I don't know.
Agreed. Agreed. Like let's yeah, like maybe let's say like we're taking a break, or like I'm not going to partake tonight, or like I think I should lay off. But yeah, I agree with you. It was like very played up and very much like, okay, well, you know, I don't want to be
Yeah,
mean, so I'll just leave it there.
yeah,
Like, okay, like thanks for sharing, pretty much.
yeah.
Um, um, so the next thing that we see is Nick and Amir go golfing, and like Nick is better than me because I wouldn't even have went. I'm gonna be honest, wouldn't even have went. I would have been mad. I'd have been mad. I'd have like like you know how that's a saying that's like don't punish anyone for the sins of their father or whatever. That's not true. Would punish Amir for the sins of his girlfriend, and I would be mad at him. I would be annoyed. I would be very.
Honestly, though, I wouldn't. Yeah, he's not even taking real, not responsibility. Well, yeah, because technically he's bringing her into the house, so there is
OMG, Ashley from My Sweet Perspective just popped in and she said, "Hey
Ashley.
ladies." And she
I'm
said
so
I came to
excited about
support.
the chat. I wish I could see the chat.
I
Hi,
wish you could
Ashley.
too. I'm so
Thanks for
excited.
coming. Oh my gosh.
Ashley. She
I'm
said,
so
"Hey,
glad.
ladies, coming to support the chat, but don't watch the show. Follow Ashley, sweet perspective. Me and Toma are both obsessed. We love
Obsessed.
obsessed,
She'll put you onto
obsessed.
anything, any television. I don't know how she does it. Shout out to you, Ashley. We love you, but
Literally, on
you're
a day where
absolutely
you don't have time to watch something, don't check out Ashley's video or like bookmark and come back because you will find something to watch. It's fact.
absolutely.
Okay. Wait, let me make sure. Let me see if we had anything else. Okay. Love that she. That made me so excited.
I know.
Um, Okay, so yeah. I wouldn't have gone golfing. That would have been a no. Um, Nick and like here's the thing, it I cackled when Amir is like, so how did Tasia enjoy Natalie? In what
Well,
regard? In what regard? Enjoy her doing what? Touching her hair? Patting her? Blowing up her relationship?
stop.
What
But
should
that's
she
the
enjoy?
weird part because they're allegedly friends, or according to Natalie,
Allegedly.
they're friends, and I'm still confused about that. Are
They're
they
not
actually
friends. She
friends?
just said that because they met. That's like when someone sends me a direct message on TikTok and I'm like, "Oh, we're friends now." And then don't even know them actually. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you correct that and you say, "Hey, like we're acquaintances, but we don't know each other like that." But I feel like Natalie was like doubling down on like it's my responsibility to bring this information to Tasia because we're
No,
friends. You
she
know?
centers herself like and it just shows why she shouldn't be in this space. She centers herself at every opportunity and it's like, well, how can I be important in this conversation? And it's like you didn't feel a duty or an obligation to relay this. You you wanted to be part of something, to be honest.
Yeah, yeah.
That was my
And
interpretation.
and maybe that's the thing when I say that like it seems like she wants to be on reality television. Maybe it's not that she just wants to be in reality television. Maybe she just wants to be in these conversations. She just wants to be part of whatever's going on. Maybe that's it.
I do wonder though, like it's something to consider. She is so professional. She is like very into her career. It is something to wonder like how would this impact her career after having such negative reception from viewers because, you know, mm, it is I mean, it is very much like people are very cutthroat and judgmental in the real estate profession. So if all of a sudden she's labeled herself as someone who is like microaggressive or just like a problem, that's not going to make everybody excited to work with her. You know what I mean? I would think. I would think.
I would think so too, but there is that privilege there, you
Of
know.
course.
And I'm just thinking about somebody like I'm thinking about like selling Sunset or like
Oh yeah,
selling
some
those.
people will go to her just because of it. They're like, love it.
Exactly, and it's just kind of like okay, like I think she probably at like to some extent knows that, right? Like she's
Mm-hmm.
not really jeopardizing, like yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
The entire yeah, the like whole like you're not really gonna get canceled because there's someone for everyone type thing.
Yeah,
That's yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
yes. Okay, so he asks her that, which sent me like how did Tasia enjoy Natalie, and basically for a second they're like kikiing, and I was like, why are you guys talking like normal? Like truly, why? And then basically Nick tells Amir that he had a conversation, and we didn't get to see this. They showed it very briefly. We see a flashback of like Bria, and I think Shanice was sitting there. Maybe Noelle was there, but definitely Bria was sitting there talking to Nick, and he was like, "So I just blew up on you guys for nothing." And she's like, "Yeah, basically, because Natalie was the one who relayed this information after we specifically said not to." And Amir gets upset by this, and like for what? Is it just to defend her? Just to defend her, like because of the premise of it, or what?
Yeah, see, this is the thing. Another, like, this is just how I feel like about Amir all the time. It's like I never understand what he's getting at. What is it like? I'm just like, okay, like you can acknowledge that she was the issue here, and also like not throw her under the bus. You know what I mean? Like you can just acknowledge the truth of the scenario. I feel like he just was like completely like Natalie didn't do anything. Like he was doubling down on Natalie not doing anything. But it's like Natalie was the only one who was trying to like pass along this information, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like the other girl, and I mean Bria technically, but Bria I can't even, like I feel like she was just I don't even know what she was talking about because she was saying all that stuff and then later she was like they like showed us later that she was just like no I never
Yeah,
said
like that's the thing. She did go too hard. Like, okay, that's the only thing
yeah
I'm gonna hold her accountable for.
yes
All of the girls can have their open conversation. I don't think they should have to censor themselves. I do think Natalie should have respected the space, realized her place, not
yeah
caused drama, period. But the details, the oh, I think Nick would do this if given the chance, the elaboration, I mean, it was excessive. And if you don't
Yeah,
feel that way, then acknowledge that saying it in front of someone who doesn't know you,
yeah,
because Natalie doesn't know Bria, really.
yeah,
She's going to think that you're being serious. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So
And
that
the
I
only
will
reason,
say,
no, I fully agree. And I think the only reason with Natalie that like I still wanted her to be accountable with it was because we know that, well, we can assume that Amir has spoken to Natalie about the I
oh,
can't remember the
totally. She
exact
still shouldn't have said
thing.
anything. They could have
No,
said
no, but I'm saying
anything.
like
Yeah.
we know that like she has contacts and she probably like kind of like ran with something in terms of like, okay, she already, it sounds like she already knows that
Mm-hmm.
this was already like a thing that Amir brought up because he, I can't remember exactly what he said, but he mentioned that like, oh yeah, like the fact that he's like, I tried to get ahead of this by addressing this however long ago, and I feel like if he had to at some point tell
And plus,
Natalie,
no
right?
offense, but you're not doing your friend a service by bringing up something to her and ruining her last hour with her partner. It's
Yeah,
definitely like a call me when you get home situation. Like, let's talk about what I
yeah,
heard at the house. Like, I didn't want to bring it up and like ruin the vibe. That would have been appropriate. You know what I mean?
I agree. And
Yeah.
that's the one thing I will say. I did feel bad for Nick because it really, like, I really, immediately when Bria said that, I really was like, kind of like frustrated for Nick because it's like, that's a really serious allegation. You don't just go
Exactly.
around saying, and especially it's like your friend and loved one. Like, if you really felt that deeply about it, or not even felt that deeply, but if you're really concerned with his behavior in that sense, which is like compromising women, like you really need to address that in a meaningful way. And for her to say that, so like even Noelle at one point was like, actually, like I don't have like in their girls conversation, she was like, I don't have that exact experience, so I'm not going to speak on it any further because I know vaguely what you guys are talking about, but I don't have that. And then later to find out that basically there were a lot of girls, I shouldn't say a lot, but
Oh, but yeah.
several of the girls like just like were like, no, he literally never actually touched you. Like he's handsy
Yes.
and touchy, but he never actually. So it's like for her to go that, for Bria to go that far with it is really concerning. And then for her, when actually addressed about it, she's like, "Oh no, I didn't say, I didn't, you didn't do anything to me."
You know, one thing interesting though is that I did listen to the live stream with Noelle, Shanice, and Jasmine. And Shanice did say that there was a lot more conversations surrounding Nick and like the creepiness and all of that stuff that they cut. And like um, specifically like Shanice was like, no, like they cut, like why I said Nick was creepy and like what he did after we went out one night in New York City, and she never elaborated on that. But I guess she did have an experience. However, going back to Natalie shouldn't have inserted herself, regardless of if they mentioned it to her. She inserted herself in that. It could have just been information that you're just like, oh, well, that was weird. You know what I mean? It felt like a moment for her and Amir to be like the couple who was better as well. Because it's like, well, at least we don't have these problems. Like, it was a moment for the two of them to share and be like, oh, like, this is, can you believe that this is what Tasia's going through? Like, I would be so mad at you if you did this. Like, thank God you're not. It felt like
And
that.
I don't know why they love doing that kind of stuff, but it feels like it's like a thing for them. It's just like couples versus couples or whatever, or comparing couples. Like,
Agreed. Battle of the couples.
yeah,
So, okay, so basically, where were we at? So, Nick mentions to Amir, like I said, that he basically found out that he shouldn't have brought it up. Amir's like displeased. He goes back to the house and he basically has low energy, and to the point where they notice that and they're like, what's good? What's happening? And prior to that, we see Summer leave. Um, we see Summer leave, and Alex barely says anything, but he gives her a hug. I like can't with how much they go back and forth between
you know,
Summer and Alex, because I'm like,
yeah,
it's so awkward. Like, just leave it alone.
yeah,
Just leave it alone.
yeah.
Okay. Also, before I get off topic of summer, this episode I noticed, and I don't know if this has already been said, so like if it has, like whatever, but she reminds me so much of Jenny Ortega. Like I looked at her face in one of the confessionals towards the end, and I was like, OMG, why are you it was when she was wearing all black with the red lipstick, and I was like, it's giving Wednesday Addams.
I can kind of see that.
Yes, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Um, it's funny that Amir called it no good deed goes unpunished as well, as if Natalie did a good deed. I can't.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so Milo goes missing. I always feel bad for Bria when Milo goes missing because on my podcast she told me that like a bird. I hope I don't get this wrong. I'm gonna have to go replay it, but I swear that she said that one of her former dogs, a bird scooped up and the dog either died or just got like taken away. But like one of her former dogs, like this is like an actual thing. Like this is like it was very traumatizing.
Yeah.
Like yeah, like her dog was like scooped up by a bird in the backyard, and then like I think like when it fell, like did not survive, and so Milo got snatched up one time, but like it was too heavy, so like the bird let him go. But so she freaks out when he goes missing because hawks
Mm.
or eagles will just scoop up like a wiener dog or a Shih Tzu. So I freak out with Brie. I'm like, oh my God, Milo. But then he comes running back. He comes running back and he's like,
Yeah, that was so cute. Oh my gosh, I literally that was what I wrote in my notes. It was so funny because there was like after like the first 2 minutes, I was actually like, oh my gosh, like that is so stressful and nerve wracking because like everyone's looking for him, blah, blah blah, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like that is nerve wracking, right? To lose your dog in that sense.
yes.
And then when he came running back, I was like, wow, like I was so like I was just so happy, like it was so cute.
I can't be mad at dogs. Like I can't. Like
I
even when they
know.
get into stuff, I'm like, oh, you're
And he's
so
so cute
cute.
and like allegedly he's an emotional support animal,
Yeah.
but I feel like
He's allegedly
like
naughty.
but like honestly it makes sense because Bria is like I feel like
Naughty.
I don't know he's like I feel like he's stressed, he's like I need a break from this house, from this mess,
Get
like
me away from her. I'm tired of being emotionally supported. I want to go
no
in the
right.
woods.
No right, like literally, oh my
He's like,
also
Simon's ignoring me. I hated his flamingo costume. I'm going in the woods.
does Simon even like interact with Milo?
I don't know because it's interesting because I do remember like Milo got excited on FaceTime one time when Bria in one of the episodes and she was like, "Oh, he hears you." And I'm like, "Oh, like Simon. Oh, but they're like remember Bria was like got denied from a bar this season
Oh
and
yeah,
she
yeah.
was like, "Ah, Milo's been to clubs in
Yes,
Dubai."
yes,
Like, I'm
yes, yeah,
dead.
yeah, yeah.
I'm dead.
Milo's traveled more than a lot of us, so
And
that's
then
good.
and then too when they were like she was like, "Who let Milo out the gate?" And then
Oh
it shows
yeah,
Milo let himself out the gate.
yeah.
He's so her dog.
But Bria, exactly. But Bria needs to also. I'm like, girl, you didn't already get the um, collar with the Apple AirTag thing, so you could just literally look on your phone, or you know what I mean? Like, girl, if you're having this much trouble losing your dog all the time, like,
Listen,
what?
you need one of those stakes in the ground with the like 50-foot leash, and Milo
Yeah,
needs to be on
yeah.
it at all times.
I'm like, if you're losing
He
him
doesn't
this
need that much
much,
exercise. Like he doesn't need to go to the woods. He's
he
small.
can't. Like, honestly, it's bad for them. Those ones with the little.
Yes. Like his little stockiness. Like stay put. Okay. Okay. Something so funny happened. Okay, so Amir starts yelling. What did he say? He was like, "Stop yelling at me."
Yeah, and Alex was like, "Oh my gosh," Alex mocking him, and that was the only time I literally was like, "Alex, we are on that." And when he explained it to me later, we are on the same page because he was cackling because he's like it keeps replaying in my head. Amir, Amir's, and he's like, "What were they even fighting about?" And I was like, "Exactly, like the conversation was not even."
Yo, and Bria had a knife in her hand. She's like cutting the like carne asada, and she's like,
And she said at one point, she's like, she meant to say escalated, and she said like something like one like little, and I was like actually laughing, even though it's just like obviously
I
a
love
slip up,
Bria
but I'm just like the way
sometimes.
she's so unserious, like
She's so
like
unserious. And then Nick chimed in and said one thing. He was like, "Real cool, Bria. Count to 10." She was like, "Okay, Urkel."
yes, oh my god, I literally, oh my gosh, oh yeah, I literally wrote on my notes in like cap, whatever Urkel, she said
She
to him,
gagged him.
he literally, Alan's dead. Oh, that was really funny.
Like, and it's so funny too because look at his face at first. He was processing that
Yeah,
diss
yeah.
and then immediately upset. I do look
No,
like
oh my gosh.
Urkel. The
I
realization.
loved it. I loved it. That was actually see. That's what I mean. Bria, she's like she brings what she brings to the table, right? With the show.
Okay, I saw a tweet on Twitter and I want to read it to you because I agreed with it. It's from Echo Does Radio. And she said, I don't want to hear shit about Nick doesn't talk to Natalie crazy because Amir is there. Okay, no. Let me reread this so that with let me read this. Because I read this like I read this like a poem. Okay. Okay, I don't want to hear shit about Nick doesn't talk to Natalie crazy because Amir is there, because Simon is right upstairs and he didn't give a fuck. The microaggressions are microaggressing.
Nick does say the first part again. Nick
So
does.
a member in Amir says in his confessional, he was like, Nick's not gonna talk to Natalie that way, like not
Yeah.
my girl. And then like 2 minutes later, he's like yelling at Bria,
Mm-hmm.
Amir himself.
Mm-hmm.
It's like so you have the wherewithal to know that your presence affects how you expect people to treat your spouse. Like if you're,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean,
Yeah.
your significant other. But when Bria is there and her boyfriend is right upstairs, that doesn't make you feel like you shouldn't talk to her crazy. Do you know what I mean?
True.
And
Yeah.
I did agree with that, and that's kind of what I meant too when I'm kind of like Bria does take it over the top, but specifically with Amir, and he didn't do this season one. He was always on Bria's side. He always checked in on her. Like there is this thing of like yelling at her more. Like you know what I mean? Like it's like not the
Yeah.
little sister vibe as much as it was.
Yeah. You're right. That's actually good. Yeah, that's a good point. And also, I'm just like, why do you need to like yell at her? Like,
Why
I
do you
get
need
she's
to
in a
yell at
relationship,
her?
but, like, just yeah.
And he already said, you know, like I removed myself with the Mariah situation because I don't want to yell at women. And it's like, okay, so if she's yelling at you, the selective outreach to only get this mad over Natalie when
Yeah.
Natalie was dead wrong is like,
I mean, yeah.
I don't know.
No, it's definitely worth noting because he's very, and he even really said that like he's different with when Natalie's there.
Okay, so I didn't. Okay, so we already talked about the fact that Bria said that Simon's not her soulmate, which absolutely sent me. Um, Jasmine planned a dinner on the beach. What did you think of this? And like, what did they do? Because this is where I stopped zoning out and started prepping. Like this,
No,
like
yeah,
no, like literally, what happened?
no. I honestly still am trying to figure that out. I was trying so hard to be like, okay, what is, what's the like, what's going on here? What's the content? What's the meat of it? And I still don't know. I think it was just kind of like you have to like get, like it's like the final dinner or something. But
Because here's the thing. At the final dinner, they seemed like the group came together and they were all like fine. And
yeah,
then we already know that fast forward to now, Preston not really cool with Bria. You know
hmm
what I mean?
yeah,
Um, and we know Jasmine kind of on the outs with the group, buying Instagram followers, Preston said, allegedly, on his interview with Carlos King. Yeah,
I
he
didn't
was
see that
like,
interview.
oh, yeah, he was like, Jasmine's acting different. She moves different. Like, we've had a group message about it. Like, she bought followers on Instagram. Like, she was just acting different. And even though I'm the only person that says it out loud, he was like, all of us felt this way. All of us, like Jasmine wasn't isolated because we were being mean. Jasmine was isolated because we thought she was moving weird, and this is why.
Oh, I already thought she was moving weird just because like Silas and all that stuff. But no offense, she bought Instagram followers in 2024. I didn't even know you could still do that.
I didn't know you could either. I don't know how people do that.
And what would be the okay? Anyway,
But
like
anyways, I mean, like to whatever, get your bag. I get. I mean, I
no,
have
I
seen.
understand, but I'm like
Yeah.
she could have authentically gotten
Oh
those
yeah, she's
followers.
cool. I follow her
Yeah,
already.
like
I already follow her.
and honestly, I was gonna say, and I thought that like this like not despite, but like yeah, she was pregnant this season, but I do feel like with her without Silas made me I felt like I saw a different side of her this
100%.
season, and I just like I don't want to say liked her more, but like I don't know, she was like good at it. Like she, I don't know. I thought it was good, so I'm like, you could have, yeah. So just hearing that she bought followers is
Things were,
really,
she was very like matronly season one, and she
yeah,
was very like for example, she said on her live stream with Noelle and Shanice in regards to everyone like having criticisms for Shanice, like stop getting naked in front of people. Like if you
mm-hmm.
don't want Nick to look at you, then just stop doing it. Like, she was just like, no, like if Nick Jasmine was like, if Nick feels uncomfortable, he should just remove himself. And it's like, okay, fair, but season one, you sure did tell Shanice when she was on that
Yeah,
balcony to not take her top off.
yeah,
So the fact that Silas isn't here and you're cool with this, if he was sitting on that couch, and I get it, you know, but like it would be weird if any of them told Shanice like, "Hey, stop doing this." You know what I mean? Like,
mm-hmm.
should she probably not do it? I mean, yeah. There is a respect for not taking your top off in front of a room full of guys who have girlfriends, but I don't know. I
And
don't
also
know.
like I feel like it wasn't always a room full of guys
It
though.
wasn't
Like
exactly.
I feel like
And
it
it's
came
not
out
for them either. You know what I mean? Like it's
exactly,
not
yeah,
like
and I
it's
feel like
for them.
it's definitely Summer House vibes of like if you think
Exactly.
about Summer House, like I guess original Hamptons,
Uh-huh.
like I mean I don't remember specifically if they were like taking tops off and stuff, but like
Oh, they
it's
did
all
all the
about like
time. They always got naked and jumped in that
right?
pool.
Okay, they did right, but they were like it's all like partying, like that's the vibe, and
True.
usually, typically, so I'm like, and there was a point because yeah, I did have like a lot of like I went back and forth on this
Me
because a
too.
lot
I
of
went
people
back
were
and
like
forth.
Denise is like, and she is a lot, she is extra, but she's also like it's very
Fun.
much if like
The
yeah,
vibe
like this is what the whole summer house typically is
is
about,
for.
right?
Agreed.
So
I agree.
yeah.
Okay. Well, we basically recapped the entire episode. At the end, we see baby Silas. Baby Silas is really cute. I do loathe when, you know,
But
like a baby gets named like baby Silas. You know what I mean? Like Silas is a grown man's name. First of all, we know
also
Silas.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
And also like Silas was the worst thing about season one to me,
Yes.
and I think Silas brings Jasmine down. No, I shouldn't say that. I
In our
Silas,
experience of him, he did. I think it's
yeah,
completely fair to say
exactly,
that season one, what we saw, he brought her down.
exactly. So it's also just like you're doubling down. Like I know it's not like this is their real life. They're having a family. They're having a child. She wants to give her child his whatever. That I get it. I respect it. But like in the context of the show, it is kind of funny because I'm like, really, you had to be like Katie Silas, like
Really? Like,
to
really?
remind us that's literally like your husband, and that's like we never want to see him on the
And you know
screen.
that he wanted it too. Like, he said, like, I feel
Oh,
like,
oh, I
and that just adds to me disliking him more. You know what I mean? But, like, I love the baby.
exactly.
The baby is adorable. Okay? Only adult Silas. Silas Jr. is adorable. Okay?
Right?
Nothing.
I'm like, love
You are
him.
innocent. Love you, Silas
Exactly.
Jr. Love you.
Exactly.
Mr. Silas Sr., listen. Listen. Okay.
Exactly.
I think we pretty much covered everything. I
Yeah.
think that we should skip the Never Ever Mets, and I think that we
Yeah.
should do that a different time because
Yeah, we should.
I feel like we did this well. Is there any predictions you have for the reunion? Because wait, just tell you. Preston did say that out of people who perform the best at the reunion, Jasmine does really well, and she's like really shady, says the things that she has to say. So I'm excited to see that. What are you excited to see?
See,
And I'm excited to see them confront everything about Natalie.
oh yeah, for sure. I think I don't know. There's so much because I almost just like don't know what to expect,
I
right?
know.
And the way that they like summed it up is kind of like things are like not good, but like it's I don't know,
Should
not
Natalie have to come and answer for like, okay, I don't want her on the show, but should she have had to come to the reunion and answer for everything since she did blow up the show?
honestly no because it's just like I even wrote this in my notes, and I'm so sorry. Like, she might be an actual nice girl in real life, but I was just like, why does Amir keep trying to make Natalie happen? She's not like, you know what I mean? It's like
Stop
we're
trying to make
always
fetch happen.
like literally everything's Natalie, Natalie, Natalie. Okay, what? Like, it would be so awesome if she was like nice, funny, cool, interesting, unique, anything. But all she does is like all we see on the show is her basically putting him down, allegedly trying to start drama, all this stuff. And I'm just like, how about we just like make it very clear right now? Even though Mir thinks that it would be really fantastic for Natalie to be a star on the show or whatever, it's no. If you like, no, no,
Agreed.
like, right? We don't need Natalie at all.
We
We
don't
could,
need her.
like you said, maybe if she wants to be on a show, she should go on a show. But this is not the show for her. And it's like
Agreed.
keep everything, but like, oh my gosh, like we get it, Natalie. Like, I don't know if they're trying to make her the villain. I don't know what the scenario is, but like, that's
I don't
not
think they even needed to try. I think it just happened as it happened.
true. But also,
I'm
like, I'm like, okay, we
we
don't,
don't need it.
no, 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 no.
We,
I'm
we don't need
sorry.
it. Okay. Well, we're going to end it. This was a good live. I'm glad we got to talk about everything. Make sure you're following Tamaslian on socials. I'm going to put it in the description. I'm going to link her. Make sure you're going to watch the reunion next week, Sunday, and maybe we'll do another live.
Ooh, okay, yeah.
Okay, yay. Okay, bye.
Yes.
Signing off.
Thanks for joining.
Thanks for joining, everyone.